My brother told me I smelled like hospitals and regret. Then he told me to leave. I should have seen it coming. 5 years of watching him get better, watching color return to his cheeks, watching him laugh again. I thought that was enough. I thought saving his life meant something. I was wrong. The apartment door swung open before I could knock. Jawan stood there, healthy and glowing in clothes I'd bought him 3 months ago. Designer sneakers, the ones he said he needed to feel normal again. Behind him, voices, laughter, music. He had company. Hyung. His smile died the second he saw me. "What are you doing here?" I held up the pharmacy bag. "Your refill. The doctor said, I told you to text first. You didn't answer." His jaw tightened. Someone called his name from inside. A girl's voice, bright and careless. "Just leave it," Jiwan said. I stepped forward. He blocked the doorway. "Jiwan, I need to talk to you about the hospital bills. They sent another." "Not now." His eyes darted back toward his guests. "I have people over." "I know, I'll be quick." "No." The word came out sharp, final. "You can't come in looking like that." I glanced down. My convenience store uniform. The name tag I forgot to take off. Shoes worn thin at the heels. Looking like what exactly? Like someone who worked 3 jobs to keep him alive? G1, "You're embarrassing me." The words hit like a slap. A guy appeared behind Jaiwan, all styled hair and expensive cologne. "Everything okay, man?" Jiwan's face shifted. Bright. Charming. Nothing like the cold expression he'd just given me. "Yeah, just my brother dropping something off." Brother. Said like an obligation. A footnote. The guy looked me over. His nose wrinkled slightly. I knew what he smelled. What they all smelled. Omega. Exhausted. Faded. The medical-grade scent blockers I bought in bulk couldn't quite cover the sharp, antiseptic undertone that clung to my skin after 5 years of donation clinics. "You good, Jaiwan?" Another voice from inside. More guests gathering near the door, curious. Jaiwan took the pharmacy bag from my hand. "I'm fine. He was just leaving." "Actually, You need to go." His voice dropped low. Vicious. "Stop showing up here. Stop acting like I owe you something." My throat closed. "I gave you everything," I said quietly. 5 years, every cent, and I'm grateful. Okay? I'm grateful." He didn't sound grateful. He sounded trapped. "But I'm better now. I don't need you hovering over me like some pathetic. You smell like a clinic, Hyung. Like sickness. Like..." He looked away. "I can't keep being reminded of what I went through. I need to move on." The guests were watching now. I could feel their stares, their judgment. Jiwan lowered his voice to a hiss. "You're contaminated. From all those donations. Everyone can smell it on you. It's uncomfortable." Contaminated. The word sank in slowly, like a blade between ribs. I'd donated 520 times, twice a week for 5 years. Let them drain Omega blood from my veins until I was dizzy and hollow, because the G1's treatments cost more than I could ever earn. I sold parts of myself to keep him alive, and he called me contaminated. "Don't come back here," G1 said. He was already closing the door. "I mean it. I'm done being your charity case. Your reason to exist. Find someone else to fix." The door shut. I stood there staring at the wood grain, listening to the music start up again inside. Laughter. Someone made a joke. Jawan's voice joined in, easy and light, like I'd never been there at all. My hands started shaking. I turned and walked down the hallway, past the elevator, down 4 flights of stairs because I couldn't breathe in an enclosed space right now. Outside, the rain had started. Of course it had. I walked 14 blocks back to my basement apartment, the one with mold in the corner and a landlord who didn't ask questions as long as rent arrived on time. Inside, I sat on the mattress on the floor, pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. Every automatic payment to Jawan's name stared back at me. Hospital installments, rent, his car insurance, the meal delivery service he liked. I canceled them one by one. Each tap felt like cutting a rope. Each confirmation screen, another thread severed. When the last one processed, I whispered to the empty room, You wanted me gone. Well, you got it. Then the tears came. Not the pretty kind. The kind that ripped out of my chest in ugly, choking sobs. The kind that left me gasping on a bare mattress in a basement that smelled like mildew and failure. 5 years. 520 donations. Every skipped meal. Every unopened college acceptance letter for me. Every birthday I forgot because his treatment schedule mattered more. I gave him everything, and it still wasn't enough. My chest ached where the bond sat, the one from 3 years ago, when I was drunk and desperate and stumbled into some pack event I had no business attending. 3 alphas, heat, the bond snapping into place like fate finally noticing me. I woke up alone. They never came looking. Even destiny looked at me and decided I wasn't worth the effort. No efforts from my brother or mates I bonded with. I pressed my palm against my sternum, where the bond pulsed faintly. A constant reminder of mates who didn't want me, just like my brother. The rain hammered against the single window. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow I had a shift at the convenience store. 16 hours. Then the restaurant prep job. Then deliveries if my body could take it. I couldn't afford to break down, so I didn't. I just lay there in the dark, listening to the rain and let the numbness settle in like an old friend. Contaminated, Jawan had said. Maybe he was right. Maybe I'd bled myself empty for so long, there was nothing clean left inside me. 3 weeks after my brother threw me away, I buried myself in intense work. The night shift at Save Mart paid $9 an hour and came with the kind of fluorescent lighting that made everyone look half dead. Perfect for me, then. I was restocking energy drinks when Mrs. Chen came in for her usual, cigarettes and lottery tickets. She took one look at me and frowned. You look terrible. Thanks. I'm going for a very specific aesthetic. Think it's working? I smirked. I'm serious, Hajun. You're too skinny. When's the last time you ate? Yesterday. Maybe. Time had gotten blurry around the edges lately. I'm fine, Mrs. Chen. You're not fine. The door chimed. She glanced over, then back at me. I'll leave you to it. She left quickly. That should have been my first warning. I turned toward the entrance. 3 men stood just inside the doorway. Tall, expensive suits that probably cost more than my entire year's rent. The kind of presence that made the cramped store feel even smaller. And the smell. Oh God, the smell. Cedar and smoke. Steel and rain. Sandalwood and something darker. Richer. The bond in my chest flared so violently I had to grip the shelf to stay upright. No, not them. Not now. Not here. The eldest stepped forward first. Sharp features, cold eyes. The kind of face that belonged on magazine covers or corporate boardrooms. His gaze locked onto me with surgical precision. You, he said, voice like cut glass. We've been looking everywhere for you. My mouth went dry. Play dumb. Just play dumb. Can I help you find something? My voice came out steady. Small miracle. The middle one moved closer. Broader shoulders, intensity radiating off him in waves. His nostrils flared slightly. Don't. His voice was rough, urgent. Don't pretend you don't feel it. The bond pulsed, screamed, recognized. The youngest stayed back, watching me with dark, careful eyes. Quieter than the other two, but somehow more unsettling. We should introduce ourselves, the eldest said. I'm Kang Sion. These are my brothers, Mujin and Dowon. Kang. The name hit like cold water. I'd heard it before. Everyone had. The Kang family owned half the commercial real estate on the East Coast. Their pack territory spanned 3 states. Billionaires, untouchable, and apparently my bondmates. Perfect. Just perfect. 3 years ago, Sion continued, there was a bonding ceremony. You were there. I remembered fragments, cheap soju burning down my throat. Stumbling into some upscale event I had no business attending. Heat, hands, the bond snapping into place like a trap closing, waking up alone. I don't know what you're talking about, I said. Mujin made a frustrated sound. Your scent is all over our bond. We've been searching for you. Your trail kept moving, fading. You couldn't find me for 3 years? I set down the energy drink I'd been holding. That's convenient timing. Sion's jaw tightened. We need to talk, privately. I'm working. This is important. So is my job. I needed to pay rent. Doan finally spoke, voice soft. We need you. Something in his tone made me look at him. Really look. There was something raw there, almost desperate. Our father passed 6 months ago, Sion said. His will has a clause. Without our bonded Omega present and accounted for, we lose controlling interest in the company. The board of directors has already initiated a hostile takeover. We have 30 days. The words settled slowly. They didn't find me because they wanted to. They found me because they had to. Of course. So you need me to save your empire. I leaned against the counter. And what exactly do I get out of this? Money, Sion said immediately. Security, protection, a place in our pack. Whatever you need. Whatever I need, I laughed, short, bitter. You don't know the first thing about what I need. Mugen stepped forward. We're offering you everything? Everything an Omega could want? I met his eyes. You mean a nice apartment? Designer clothes? The privilege of standing next to you at corporate events and looking grateful? His expression flickered. That's not... Let me ask you something. My voice stayed level, calm. 3 years, where were you when I was selling my blood twice a week to keep my brother alive? Where were you when I was working 3 jobs and living in a basement that grows mold faster than I can clean it? Where were you when the bond in my chest felt like it was eating me alive because my mates didn't care enough to find me? Silence. Sion's face remained neutral, but something shifted behind his eyes. We searched, Doan said quietly. We did, but your scent kept changing, suppressants masking it. We didn't know where to look. You're billionaires. You couldn't hire someone? We tried, Mugen said. His hands were clenched. Every lead went cold. It was like you didn't want to be found. Maybe I didn't. Maybe part of me knew that if they actually wanted me, they would have tried harder. Here's what's going to happen. I straightened, ignoring the dizziness pulling at the edges of my vision. You're going to leave. I'm going to finish my shift. And if you actually want my help, you're going to come back with something better than, we need you, so be grateful. Sion's expression went hard. You're not in a position to make demands. Aren't I? I smiled, no warmth in it. I'm bonded to you. That means I have legal rights to your pack, your assets, your precious empire. You need me to prevent your corporate collapse. I don't need you at all. The temperature in the store seemed to drop. Mugen moved forward, alpha presence suddenly overwhelming. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. I held my ground even as the bond screamed at me to submit, to yield, to give them what they wanted. I've spent 5 years giving everything to someone who threw me away the second I stopped being useful. I'm not doing that again. My vision blurred slightly, but I kept talking. So either treat me like a person instead of a problem you need to solve, or get the hell out of my store. Sion stared at me. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or anger, possibly respect. We'll be back, he said finally. I'm sure you will. They left. The door chimed behind them. I stood there in the fluorescent light, hand pressed against my chest where the bond was still screaming. Outside, I could see them standing beside a sleek black car. Talking. Mugen looked furious. Dowan kept glancing back at the store. Sion was on his phone. My hands were shaking. What the hell did I just do? I just dismissed 3 of the most powerful alphas on the East Coast. Told them I didn't need them. Demanded they prove themselves to me. Either I was the bravest person alive or the stupidest. Probably both. The bond pulsed weakly in my chest. Confused. Desperate. I ignored it. They'd left me alone for 3 years. They could wait one more night. They showed up at my apartment the next morning with coffee and croissants. Like we were friends. The knock came at 8 in the morning. I'd been awake for 3 hours already. Sleep didn't come easy in a basement apartment where the pipes groaned like dying animals and the neighbor upstairs had a fondness for early morning arguments. I opened the door. All 3 of them stood there. Kang Sion, Mugen, and Doan. Still in expensive clothes, though slightly less formal than last night. Sion held a carrier with 3 coffee cups. Mujin had a bag from some bakery I'd never be able to afford. Dewan just looked at me with those careful dark eyes. We brought breakfast, Sion said. I stared at them. You're serious. You said to come back with a better offer. Sion's expression remained neutral. We're here to negotiate. I should have slammed the door in their faces. Instead, I stepped aside. They entered my apartment, watched them take in the space, the mattress on the floor, the mold creeping up the corner wall, the mini fridge that barely worked, the single window that looked out onto a brick wall. The contrast was obscene. 3 billionaires in tailored clothes standing in my glorified storage closet. It's not much, I said flatly. It's fine, Doan said quietly. Liar. Mujin looked furious, not at me, at the apartment, at the circumstances that put me here. Sion set the coffee on the counter that doubled as my dining table. We owe you an apology. Last night we approached this incorrectly. You mean you tried to buy me like I was for sale? His jaw tightened. Yes. At least he was honest. We need your help, Doan said. He sat on the floor since there was nowhere else. Our father passed 6 months ago. His will has a clause. Without our bonded Omega present and verified, we lose controlling interest in the company. The board is already moving to take over. We have 30 days. And you spent the first 5.5 months doing what exactly? Looking for you, Mujin said. His voice was rough. Your scent kept disappearing. Suppressants, distance, something. Every lead went nowhere. You're billionaires. You couldn't hire better people? We did. Sion's control was impressive. You're extremely difficult to find when you don't want to be found. Fair point. I took one of the coffees. Caramel macchiato. Still hot. Probably cost more than my hourly wage. We should have tried harder, Doan said. That's on us. We assumed you'd reach out eventually, that the bond would draw you back. The bond. I laughed without humor. The bond's been eating me alive for 3 years. It didn't bring you to me. I had to almost pass out in a convenience store for you to show up. Silence. Mujin's hands clenched. So here's how this is going to work, I said. Might as well lay it all out. If you want my cooperation, I have conditions. Sion nodded. Name them. A penthouse apartment. In my name, I'm done living in mold. Done. A monthly allowance. 50,000. Mujin blinked. Sion didn't even flinch. Agreed. New clothes. A complete wardrobe. Because right now I own 4 shirts and they're all falling apart. We'll arrange it. Full medical coverage, including treatments to fix whatever damage I did to myself over 5 years of blood donations. Something shifted in Doan's expression. What do you mean 5 years? I ignored the question. Transparency. About everything. The company, the takeover. What you need from me. No surprises. Understood, Sion said. My autonomy. No commands. No alpha dominance games. You don't own me just because we're bonded. We wouldn't, Mujin started. You already tried it last night. It doesn't work on me. He shut his mouth. You treat me like an equal or I walk. And I can walk whenever I want. If you disrespect me, if you try to control me, if you make me feel like I'm just a problem you need to solve, I'm gone. The temperature in the room shifted. Those are my terms. I met Sion's eyes. If you think I'm materialistic or gold digging, I don't care. I've spent 5 years being broke and selfless. I'm done with that. Sion studied me for a long moment. Then he extended his hand. Deal. I shook it. His grip was firm, warm. The bond pulsed. Now tell me what happened, Doan said softly. The blood donations, 5 years. I should have deflected, made a joke, changed the subject, but something in his voice made the walls crack. My brother was sick and the treatment was expensive. I sold my blood on the medical market to pay for it. The words came out flat, empty. I donated twice a week for 5 years, paid for everything, his treatment, his life, his comfort. Mujin's expression went dark. And 3 weeks ago, he told me I was contaminated and threw me out. The silence was deafening. He what? Mujin's voice came out dangerous. He recovered, didn't need me anymore. So he... Aggressive knocking cut me off. I knew that knock. Hard, impatient, entitled. My stomach dropped. Hajun! Jawan's voice through the door. I know you're in there. Open up. The triplets tensed immediately. Who is that? Sion's voice went cold. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Hajun! More knocking. I need to talk to you. It's important. Mujin stood. Want me to? No. My voice came out steadier than I felt. He's my brother. I opened the door. Jiwan looked terrible. Hair messy, clothes wrinkled, eyes wild. He pushed past me into the apartment, then froze when he saw the triplets. Who the hell are they? None of your business, I said. What do you want, Jiwan? He turned to me, desperation all over his face. The hospital bills. They're cutting off my wellness treatments. I can't afford, not my problem. You have to help me. You're my brother. You said you were done with me, remember? Contaminated. Pathetic. I didn't mean... He ran a hand through his hair. Look, I did some research. Omega blood sells for $4,000 to $8,000 per unit on the medical market. You donated for 5 years. That's over $2 million. My blood went cold. My treatment didn't cost that much, Jawan continued. His voice took on an edge. Accusatory. So where's the rest? Where's the balance? I stared at him. You think I kept money? You had to. The math doesn't add up. You used my illness to profit off your Omega blood. He stepped closer. I deserve compensation. Give me the balance. Mujin moved forward, radiating alpha rage. Sion's voice came out like ice. You need to leave. Now! Dowan positioned himself slightly in front of me, but I held up a hand. This was my fight. You want to know where the money went? My voice came out quiet, devastatingly calm. I walked to the drawer beside my mattress, pulled out a folder, the one I'd kept. Not for him, for me, so I'd never forget what I gave. I opened it. Your medical bills, $847,000. I pulled out the first receipt. Your rent for 3 years after you turned 18, $43,000. Your car insurance, $14,000. Jiwan's face went pale. Your designer sneakers, $340. Your gaming console, $600. Your spring break trip to Miami, $1,200. I kept going, each receipt another cut. Your organic meal delivery service, $400 a month for 2 years. Your community college tuition you never finished, $18,000. The numbers piled up. The triplets listened, expressions darkening with every word. You want the balance? I looked at Jiwan, really looked at him. There is no balance. I spent every cent keeping you alive and comfortable. I gave you 5 years of my life, my health, my future. My hands weren't shaking, not anymore. And you repaid me by calling me contaminated and throwing me away. Jiwan's face crumbled. I didn't know it was that much. You knew enough. Hajun, please. I can't pay the bills. They're going to cut off my treatment. Get out. He didn't move, eyes darting between me and the triplets. The bond pulsed as all 3 alphas moved closer, a wall of protection. Jiwan backed toward the door, then stopped. His expression changed, desperate, ugly. Fine, I'll tell everyone. About the blood sales, about you being bonded to them. He gestured at the triplets. I'll make sure the whole pack knows exactly what kind of Omega you really are. The threat hung in the air. The moment my brother threatened to destroy me, 3 alphas I barely knew became the only people standing between me and ruin. I didn't know if that terrified me or saved me. Sion moved first. His voice came out cold enough to freeze blood. If you speak one word about him, I will destroy you. Not a threat, a promise. I will ensure every hospital in this state refuses your treatment. Every landlord rejects your applications. Every employer closes their doors. Jiwan went pale. You think you're drowning in bills now? Sion continued. Test me. See how much worse it gets. Mujin grabbed Jiwan's arm, not gently. Get out. You can't just... We can. Doan's voice was soft, deadly. Leave, before we make you. Jiwan looked at me, one last time, desperate, pleading. I said nothing. He left. The door clicked shut. Silence. My hands started shaking. Not the small tremor I'd gotten used to. The kind that came from somewhere deep, somewhere I'd been keeping locked down for 3 weeks. For 5 years. The folder slipped from my fingers. Receipts scattered across the floor. I couldn't breathe. 5 years of holding everything together, of being strong, of sacrificing and smiling and pretending it didn't hurt. And G1 walked in and shattered it in 5 minutes. My back hit the wall. I slid down, knees pulling up to my chest. Breathe. Just breathe. Except I couldn't. Hajun, Doan's voice. Close but not touching. Can I sit here? I managed a nod. He settled beside me. Not crowding, just present. You don't have to be strong right now, he said quietly. My internal voice screamed that I did, that falling apart in front of them was weakness, that they'd see how broken I was and leave like everyone else. But my body wouldn't listen. The shaking wouldn't stop. Dewan stayed, didn't try to fix it, didn't tell me it would be okay. Just sat there until my breathing evened out enough to feel almost normal. Across the room, Mujin paced, aggressive, caged energy radiating off him. Then he stopped. I wanted to kill him. His voice came out raw. Your brother, for what he said, for what he did to you. Mujin, Sion warned. No. Mujin turned to face me. His expression was wrecked. We should have found you sooner. We should have tried harder. You were out here destroying yourself, and we were... He broke off, ran a hand through his hair. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. It wasn't alpha posturing, wasn't dominance or control. It was genuine regret. Something in my chest loosened. Sion moved then, sat across from me, back against the opposite wall. For the first time since I'd met him, his mask slipped. I convinced myself we had time, he said quietly. His voice was measured, but something cracked beneath it. That the bond would eventually draw you back to us? That we could afford to wait until things were stable? I looked at him. I was wrong. His jaw tightened. And my arrogance, my need for control over every variable, it cost you 3 years. Years you spent alone. Suffering. His eyes met mine. I failed you before I ever knew you. That's on me. The vulnerability in the room was suffocating. These 3 alphas, powerful, wealthy, untouchable, sitting in my basement apartment, bleeding their truths. It broke something in me. I worked 3 jobs, I heard myself say, voice quiet, empty. Sold my blood twice a week. Every donation left me dizzy for hours, but I couldn't stop because Jaiwan needed the money. They listened. I skipped meals so he could eat organic, burned my college acceptance letter because his treatment was more important. My voice cracked. The night he called me contaminated, I went home and I couldn't understand. I gave him everything. My health, my future, everything I had. Tears were sliding down my face now. And it still wasn't enough. I'm never enough. Stop! Mujin was in front of me suddenly, kneeling, his eyes fierce. You are enough. You've always been enough. Your brother is a selfish piece of... Mujin, Sion said again. No, he needs to hear this. Mujin's hands hovered near mine, not touching, asking permission. You sacrificed yourself for someone who didn't deserve it. That doesn't make you worthless. It makes you extraordinary. I couldn't look at him. The bond pulsed between us, all 4 of us connected by something I didn't understand. But this time, it didn't feel like a trap. It felt like being seen. We can't undo the past 3 years, Sion said. His voice was steady, certain. We can't erase what you went through. But we can promise you this. You will never be alone like that again. You will never have to sacrifice yourself for scraps of affection. Not from us, Mujin added roughly. You're ours. That means we protect you, even from yourself if we have to. Doan's voice came soft beside me. You're allowed to need us. You're allowed to want things. You're allowed to take instead of always giving. I looked at them. Really looked. 3 alphas sitting in my terrible apartment. Offering vulnerability. Offering promises. Part of me wanted to believe them. Part of me was terrified. What if I can't be what you need? The question came out small, raw. Sion's response was immediate. You already are. The bond flared, not with heat, with recognition. My walls cracked wider. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I pulled it out, fingers still trembling slightly. A photo loaded slowly. Jaiwan standing next to someone in a press suit. Official looking. Lawyer maybe. Or worse, journalist. The message below. Last chance to help me, Hyung, or everyone learns your secrets tomorrow. My breath caught. I stared at the screen, the words blurring slightly. He was serious. He was actually going to do it. Sion took my phone before I could spiral. His fingers moved across his own screen with surgical precision. 3 calls in rapid succession. His voice never rose, never wavered. Just cold, controlled commands. Find out who that is with Yoon Ji-won. I want a name in 10 minutes. He listened, nodded once. Pay him triple what Ji-won offered, and make sure he understands what happens if he doesn't comply. Moojin paced behind me, barely contained fury radiating off him in waves. Doan stayed close, not touching, just present, steady. 20 minutes later, Sion's phone buzzed. Done, he said, meeting my eyes. The journalist took our offer. All materials deleted. The story dies here. I stared at him. Just like that? Just like that. We told you, Moojin said. His voice was rough. You're ours. We protect what's ours. Doan's hand found mine, squeezed gently. He can't hurt you anymore. The bond pulsed. Something warm flooded through it. Safety. I hadn't felt that in 5 years, maybe longer. 3 days later, they took me to a medical facility I couldn't pronounce the name of. Private. Exclusive. The kind of place where they didn't ask for insurance because everyone who walked through those doors paid cash. The doctor was thorough. Blood work, scans, physical examination. She didn't sugarcoat the results. Chronic anemia, compromised omega biology. Your heats are going to be irregular for at least another year. Severe nutrient deficiencies, muscle deterioration. She looked at me over her tablet. You pushed yourself to the breaking point. Recovery is possible, but it'll take time. How much time? My voice came out smaller than I wanted. 6 months minimum, a year to be safe. We'll start with iron infusions, B12 shots, and a comprehensive vitamin regimen. I'm also prescribing high-calorie supplements and referring you to a nutritionist. Sion handled the paperwork without blinking. Moojin stayed beside me through the entire appointment, his presence a solid wall of protection. Dowan asked detailed questions about recovery timelines and potential complications. They cared. Actually cared. The realization hit harder than I expected. After the appointment, they drove me across the city. Where are we going? I asked. Your apartment, Sion said. The penthouse, I muttered. The building was downtown. Glass and steel. The kind of place I'd walked past 100 times without ever imagining I could enter. The penthouse was on the 42nd floor. Doan unlocked the door. I stepped inside. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Modern furniture in shades of gray and white. A kitchen with appliances I didn't know how to use. A bedroom with an actual bed. King-sized with a headboard and everything. The bathroom had a soaking tub. There was even a small office space with a desk and bookshelves. I touched the granite countertop, half convinced it would disappear. Do you like it? Doan asked quietly. My throat closed up. I've never had anything this nice. Sion moved closer. His voice was firm. Final. Get used to it. This is yours. The lease. In your name. Everything here is yours. No conditions. I turned away before they could see my eyes watering. 5 years I'd given everything. Sacrificed everything. And these 3 alphas gave me more in 3 days than my brother had in a lifetime. The next day, they took me shopping. High-end stores where the staff looked at me like I belonged there. Personal stylists who pulled clothes in my size without asking. Fitting rooms bigger than my old apartment. I tried on a charcoal suit. It actually fit. Made me look less like someone who survived on instant ramen and more like someone who had their life together. My internal voice kicked in. Look at you, playing dress-up with billionaires. Jiwon would have had a field day. Then I remembered, Jiwon could go to hell. Moojin kept handing me things. Try this and this. That color would look good on you. Doan quietly vetoed anything that didn't fit perfectly. The shoulders are wrong. Find another. Sion just watched with a small, satisfied smile. I caught my reflection in a mirror. Designer clothes. Healthy color starting to return to my face. Three alphas looking at me like I was something worth keeping. Maybe I was. Over the next few days, something shifted. Small moments that built into something bigger. Mujin started showing up at the penthouse in the mornings with coffee. Caramel macchiato, extra shot, the way I liked it. He never asked if I wanted it, just left it on the counter and settled in like he belonged there. Dowen came by in the evenings. Didn't demand conversation, just sat on the couch with a book while I figured out how to use the TV. Comfortable silence that didn't feel empty. Sion brought paperwork, explained the shareholder structure, the board members, what the hostile takeover actually meant. Made sure I understood everything. Transparency, just like he promised. The bond between us hummed, growing stronger with each quiet moment. I started to believe it, that maybe this could work, that maybe I could have this. The meeting is in 2 days, Sion said. We were in my penthouse, all four of us. The night before everything would be decided. Nervous? Mujin asked. Terrified, I admitted. Don't be. You just have to show up. Be present. Answer honestly if anyone asks about the bond. What if they don't believe me? They will, Doan said softly. The bond is real. Anyone with sense will feel it. Sion handed me a folder. Read this tonight. It has profiles on every board member. Who they are, what they care about, potential questions. I took it. You really think this will work? I know it will. The confidence in his voice made me believe him. The morning of the meeting, I stood in front of the mirror. Expensive suit, tie that Doan had tied for me because I still didn't know how. Hair actually styled instead of just shoved out of my face. I looked different, felt different. The triplets appeared behind me in the reflection. All three of them in dark suits, looking like they owned the world. Maybe they did. Ready? Sion asked. I nodded. We drove to the corporate building in silence. The city blurred past the windows. When we arrived, something felt wrong immediately. Board members clustered in groups, staring at their phones, whispering. A man in a gray suit approached Sion, face grim. He held out a tablet. Sir, you need to see this. Sion took it. His expression went cold. Mujin leaned over his shoulder, cursed under his breath. Dowan's hand found mine. Squeezed once. What is it? My voice sounded distant. Sion turned the screen toward me. A video, posted 2 hours ago, already had hundreds of thousands of views. Jiwon's face filled the screen. I need to tell the truth about my brother, he said, voice shaking, manufactured tears in his eyes. Yoon Ha-jun is a liar and a manipulator. He's using these alphas for their money. The bond? Probably faked with illegal suppressants. He's been playing victim his whole life, and now he's conned his way into billions. The comments scrolled past. Vicious, hateful, gold digger, fraud, disgusting. The board members were watching me now, suspicion clear on every face. The penthouse, the clothes, the medical treatments. It all looked exactly like what Jiwon said it was. My hands went numb. This is it, my internal voice whispered. This is where it all falls apart. Just when I thought I could have something good, but it came to ruin, and the shareholder meeting was starting in 10 minutes. The board members stared at their phones, at me, at the triplets. Judgment hung thick in the air. Sion's jaw was tight. Mujin looked ready to tear someone apart. Dowan's hand hovered near mine, not quite touching. They were waiting for me to crumble, to ask for more time, to hide. I took a breath. Start the meeting. My voice came out steadier than I felt. All three alphas turned to look at me. Mujin's eyes searched mine. You're sure? I met his gaze, held it. He's not taking this from me, from us. Let's finish this. Something shifted in their expressions. Respect, pride, something fiercer. Sion nodded once. Then we go. We walked into the boardroom together. Every eye tracked our movement. Whispers followed us like smoke. My internal voice kicked in. Look at them. Judging me based on a video from someone who threw me away. As if they know the first thing about what I survived. But outwardly, I kept my face blank, composed. The triplets flanked me, a wall of protection and power. We took our seats at the head of the massive conference table. Sion's voice cut through the murmurs. We're ready to proceed. The tension was suffocating. The board chairman sat at the opposite end. Older alpha, gray suit, expression like he'd bitten into something sour. He didn't waste time. Mr. Yoon, his voice dripped with disdain, I'm sure you're aware of the allegations circulating online. Before we proceed, this board needs assurance that your bond with the Kang triplets is legitimate and not, as claimed, a manipulation for financial gain. Direct attack. The room went silent. This was it. My moment to either crumble or fight. I stood, slowly, deliberately. The bond is 3 years old, I said. My voice carried across the room. It happened at a PAC event I attended while working a catering job. I didn't know who they were. Didn't know their names, their wealth, their status. I could feel everyone listening. I spent those 3 years alone, working 3 jobs, selling my blood twice a week to pay for my brother's medical treatment. My throat tightened, but I pushed through. I gave 5 years of my life to keep him alive, and when he recovered, he called me contaminated and threw me away. Someone shifted uncomfortably. So yes, I asked for compensation when they found me. A penthouse, an allowance, medical care, new clothes. I looked directly at the chairman. I'm not ashamed of that. I spent 5 years sacrificing everything for someone who didn't deserve it. I'm done apologizing for wanting stability. My hands were steady on the table. The bond is real. I feel it every second. It's not something you can fake with suppressants or manipulation. It's there whether I want it or not. I sat back down. The room was dead silent. Sion stood next. His voice was calm, authoritative, the kind of voice that commanded boardrooms and empires. Everything Ha-jun said is true. We have documentation to support it. He nodded to someone. A screen lit up behind us. Medical records confirming bond compatibility, Sion continued. Documents flashed on the screen. Testimony from the event coordinator who was present that night. Security footage showing all 4 of us entering the private bonding room. The evidence was overwhelming. Mujin spoke next, his voice rough with emotion. He didn't come to us. We found him. After 3 years of searching, he looked at me, something raw in his expression. And we're not letting him go. Not for a company, not for a board, not for anything. Doan finished quietly. The bond is real. Question it all you want. Challenge us. Investigate. It won't change the truth. Their unity was absolute. The chairman's expression hadn't changed, but I saw the calculation in his eyes. He had no ammunition left. The vote, the chairman said finally. His voice was clipped, defeated. All in favor of recognizing the Kang triplets' bonded status and confirming their retention of controlling interest in accordance with the late Mr. Kang's will? Hands went up around the table. Not all of them, but enough. My heart hammered. Opposed? Fewer hands. The chairman's jaw tightened. The motion passes. The Kang triplets retain controlling interest. Relief flooded through the bond. I felt it from all 3 of them. We won, by a narrow margin. But we won. The hostile takeover was stopped. The inheritance was secured. Sion's hand found mine under the table. Squeezed once. Mujin's grin was sharp, victorious. Doan just looked at me with quiet pride. We left the boardroom together. Back at the penthouse, the city spread out below us through the windows. Sion was on his phone. His expression shifted. It's done. The video's been taken down. How? I asked. Legal team? Copyright violations? Defamation claims? Platform policy breaches? They worked fast. He looked satisfied. It's gone. The damage is contained. Mujin poured drinks. Expensive whiskey I couldn't pronounce. To Ha-jun, he said, raising his glass, for having more spine than half that board combined. Dowan clinked his glass against mine. You were incredible. I took a sip, let the warmth spread through me. We won. Actually won. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out. Unknown number. But I knew who it was. The message loaded. Ha-jun, please. I'm so sorry. The video, I panicked. I didn't think it through. We're still brothers. Can we meet? I need to explain. I'll do anything. Please. I'm begging you. My chest tightened. The triplets were talking behind me, celebrating, planning next steps. They didn't see the message. I stared at it. Jawan was panicking, desperate. The video failed. His last card played and lost. My fingers moved across the screen. Fine, Fifth Street Cafe. Tomorrow 2 p.m. Come alone. I hit send, then deleted the conversation, put my phone away, turned back to the triplets with a smile. What are we drinking to? I asked. Sion handed me a fresh glass. To new beginnings. To family, Mujan added. Doan's eyes met mine. To choosing who deserves us. We drank. The bond hummed between us. Warm, secure. But in the back of my mind, tomorrow's meeting waited. Morning light filtered through the penthouse windows. I woke to the smell of coffee. Fresh brewed, the way I liked it. Mujan was in the kitchen, leaning against the counter with a mug. Sion sat at the dining table with his tablet, reading through something. Doan was on the couch, book in hand. They'd started staying over. Not all at once, not dramatically, just gradually becoming part of my space, my home. You're awake, Doan said without looking up. Observant, I muttered. Mujan grinned, brought me coffee without asking, set it on the counter beside me. His hand lingered on my shoulder. Brief, warm. We were thinking, Sion said, about expanding the penthouse. The one next door is available. We could connect them. You want more space? We want you to have more space. His eyes met mine. This is your home. We're just grateful to be in it. Something in my chest tightened. The bond hummed. Content. Steady. Mujan pulled me close. Not commanding, just affectionate. His chin rested on top of my head. You're stuck with us now, he said. Sion's hand found my shoulder. Solid. Grounding. Dowan set his book down and joined us. Completed the circle with a gentle touch to my arm. For a moment, we just stood there. 4 people connected by something deeper than words. The bond pulsed with warmth. Belonging. This was what home felt like. I almost didn't go through with it. Almost. I need to run some errands, I said an hour later. Sion looked up. Want company? No, just picking up some things from my old apartment. Won't be long. I can send a driver. I want the independence. I smiled. I'll be back in a few hours. Mujan kissed my forehead. Casual, easy. Doan squeezed my hand. Sion reminded me to text when I was heading back. I left. The bond stretched as I drove across the city, but it didn't break. They had no idea where I was really going. Fifth Street Cafe, I told Jiwon. 2 p.m. Except there was no cafe. Not anymore. The address led to an industrial area. Abandoned warehouses. Broken streetlights. The kind of neighborhood where people didn't ask questions. The building looked like a garage once. Maybe a storage facility. Now it was just concrete and rust. My phone buzzed. Job done. We're gone. I'd paid the thugs well. Cash, no names, no questions. I parked and got out. The air smelled like oil and decay. I pushed open the heavy door. Jiwon was on the floor, bloodied, beaten, but conscious. His face was a mess. Swollen eye, split lip, bruises blooming across his cheek. When he saw me, something flickered in his expression. Hope. He actually thought I came to help. Hajun, his voice cracked. Thank God. I don't know what happened. These guys just... I know what happened, I said quietly. I stepped closer. His eyes widened, understanding dawning slowly. You did this? You expected a cafe, somewhere public, somewhere safe. I looked down at him. No sympathy, no warmth. There was never going to be forgiveness, Jawan. What? You threw me away, called me contaminated, demanded money I never had. My voice stayed level, calm. Then you tried to destroy me in front of the world with that video. I was desperate. So was I. For 5 years. You didn't care then. I crouched down to his level. This is what you deserve. Remember this feeling. Remember that your brother did this to you. My internal voice whispered, just like you did it to me. Hajun, please. We're done. I stood, turned toward the door. Behind me, I heard him move, scrambling, desperate. You can't just leave me here. I kept walking. Hajun! Something in his voice changed. Fear turned to rage. Footsteps, running. I started to turn. Pain exploded in my back, sharp, searing, overwhelming. I stumbled forward, gasped, looked down. Blood, spreading across my shirt. Fast. What? I turned enough to see Jiwon, wild-eyed, shaking, a knife in his hand. He stabbed me. My brother actually stabbed me. I didn't, his voice broke. I didn't mean to. My legs gave out. I hit the concrete hard. The impact sent another wave of agony through me. Jiwon dropped the knife, backed away. Oh God! Oh God, what did I do? He ran. I heard his footsteps, the door slamming, then nothing. The cold from the concrete seeped into my skin. I couldn't move, couldn't reach my phone. Blood pooled beneath me, warm, spreading. My vision blurred at the edges. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to walk away, win. Instead, I was dying on a garage floor in a place no one knew about. The bond flared, sharp, desperate. I felt their panic through it, distant, confused. Sion, Mujin, Doan. They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know where I was. Minutes passed, each one heavier than the last. My breathing turned shallow, uneven. The pain started to fade. Not because it was better, because I was fading. My internal voice whispered, alone. Just like you always were. 5 years sacrificing for someone who threw me away. 1 week believing I could have something good. And now this. The bond screamed, trying to reach them, trying to guide them. But the city was so big, and I was so small. My vision darkened. I couldn't feel my legs anymore. Somewhere far away, I thought I heard something. A car engine, maybe. Running footsteps. Voices shouting. Or maybe I was imagining it. Maybe it was too late. The cold was everywhere now, inside me, around me. I closed my eyes. The bond pulsed one last time. Desperate, pleading. Hold on, please hold on. But I couldn't. Everything went black. Darkness. Complete. Absolute. I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Couldn't open my eyes, but I could hear. Muffled voices. The steady beep of machines. The antiseptic smell of hospitals seeping into my consciousness. Where am I? What happened? Then I remembered. Jiwon, the knife, the blood spreading across concrete. Am I dead? A voice cut through the fog, clinical, detached. The blade punctured his heart. We've done everything we can, but the damage is extensive. A doctor. His chances of survival are minimal. If he makes it through the next 72 hours, it'll be a miracle. Silence. Then Sion's voice. Strained, barely controlled. Do whatever it takes. The doctor's response was gentle, pitying. We already are. Now we wait. Footsteps retreated. The machines kept beeping. I'm alive. Barely, but alive. My internal voice screamed, move! Open your eyes! Say something! Nothing responded. I was trapped in my own body. This is my fault. Mujin's voice, raw, broken. I should have followed him, should have known something was wrong. The bond was screaming, Dawan, quieter, guilty. We felt it too late. He went alone because he didn't trust us enough to tell us. Sion sounded hollowed out, empty. We failed him. No, God, no. I wanted to scream, to tell them it wasn't their fault, that I chose this, that I was the one who kept secrets. But my body wouldn't listen. The bond pulsed, weak, faint, like a dying heartbeat. I tried to push through it, tried to reach them. Nothing. I'm here. I'm trying. Please. They couldn't hear me. Day 2. I knew because I'd counted the shift changes. The sunrise someone mentioned. Time marked by voices and footsteps. New sounds. Multiple people entering. Heavy footsteps. Someone struggling. A body forced to its knees. Then Jiwon's voice. Terrified. Sobbing. Hajun, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Please wake up. Please. Mujin's voice came cold. Lethal. Say it again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, Hyung. I never meant. The police are waiting outside. Sion's voice was ice. You'll spend the rest of your life paying for this. Footsteps. Jiwon being dragged away. His sobs faded down the hallway. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no closure, no triumph. I just wanted to hold my mates, to tell them I was sorry for not trusting them with the truth, for thinking I had to face Jiwon alone, for being so stupid. They didn't leave. I heard them taking shifts, one always at my bedside, holding my hand, talking to me. Dowan read aloud, his voice soft and steady, something about a journey, about finding home. Mujin told stories, future plans, things we'd do together. When you wake up, we're taking you somewhere warm, somewhere with an ocean. You've never been to the coast, have you? I hadn't. We'll fix that. We'll fix everything. His voice cracked. Sion just held my hand. His thumb traced circles on my palm. You're not allowed to leave us, he whispered. We just found you. You don't get to go. Not yet. The bond flickered, weak but there. I tried to respond, tried to squeeze back, tried to show them I was fighting. But I was so tired, so heavy. My internal voice whispered, I'm here, I'm trying. Please don't give up on me. Day 3. Something changed. The machine sounded distant, underwater. The voices grew fainter, like they were moving away even though I knew they weren't. I felt myself slipping, not falling, floating, being pulled somewhere I couldn't see. My internal voice whispered, I'm dying. This is it. The bond went quiet, not severed, just silent, empty, like a radio losing signal. I felt my soul separating, smoke rising from a dying fire. The pain disappeared. Everything felt light, peaceful. Is this what death feels like? In the space between, I sensed something. Presences around me, in the room, beyond it. Warm, luminous, gentle. Angels, maybe, or something else. They didn't speak, but I felt their intention like a hand reaching out. It's time to let go. No. My internal voice fought back. Desperate. Not yet. I just found them. I just found home. Please, I need more time. One more chance. The presences waited, patient, inevitable. My consciousness faded further. I could barely feel my body anymore. Barely remember what it felt like to breathe. The presences surrounded me, not threatening, just present, waiting for me to accept. But I couldn't. With everything I had left, I made a wish. Not a prayer, not a plea. A demand from the deepest part of my soul. Give me another chance at life, another chance at happiness with my mates. I'm not ready to leave them. I just found people who wanted me, who chose me. I can't lose that now. Please. My soul trembled on the edge. The bond flickered one last time. Weak, desperate, reaching. Then everything went still. In the space between life and death, the presences answered. Not with words, with intention. Understanding that pressed into my fading consciousness. You can return. Relief flooded through me. But a price must be paid. Of course, nothing was ever free. What matters most to you? The triplets, Sion's steady presence, Mujin's fierce protectiveness, Dowan's quiet understanding. The bond humming between us, home. That's what mattered. You must give something of equal value. I understood immediately. My memories. Take my memories of them. The presences waited, patient, making sure I knew what I was choosing. I'd forget their faces, their voices, the way the bond felt when it first ignited. Every moment we'd built together. I'd wake up and they'd be strangers, but I'd be alive. I could go back to them, even if I didn't remember them. My answer came without hesitation. Take them. Take my memories. Just let me live. Let me go back. The trade was made. Everything went bright. Consciousness surfaced slowly. Sounds first. Beeping machines, urgent voices, then sensation. Pain, dull but present. My throat raw, light, blinding when I forced my eyes open. Faces appeared above me, 3 of them. Handsome, concerned, desperate. He's awake. Oh God, he's awake. Who said that? I tried to focus, tried to place the faces. Nothing. A doctor rushed in, checked machines, looked shocked. This is incredible. His vitals are stabilizing. He's actually... One of them leaned close. Dark hair, sharp features, eyes filled with something that looked like relief and terror combined. Hajun, it's us. You're okay. You're going to be okay. His voice was familiar in a way I couldn't name. I stared at him, searched my mind for recognition. Nothing came. Who are you? The words scraped out of my throat. Hoarse, confused. The room went silent. The man who'd spoken froze. What? I don't... I looked at the three of them. Should I know you? One of them made a sound, broken, devastated. Another went completely still. The first one, the one with sharp features, his face crumbled for just a second before he controlled it. You don't remember us? I shook my head slowly. The doctor asked them to step outside. Through the glass wall, I watched them, talking, gesturing. One paced aggressively. Another stood frozen. The third seemed to be trying to hold them all together. They looked destroyed. Why? They came back an hour later, sat in chairs around my bed, careful, like I might break. The one with sharp features spoke first. His voice was measured, controlled. My name is Kang Seon. These are my brothers, Mujin and Doan. He paused, looked at the other two. We're bonded to you. I blinked. Bonded? 3 years ago, at a PAC event. Seon pulled out his phone, showed me a document. Official looking, signatures, dates, my name was on it. So were theirs. We only found you a few weeks ago, the broader one, Mujin said. His voice was rough. You'd been alone. We didn't know where you were. Your brother hurt you, the quietest one, Do-won, added. Stabbed you. You almost died. I processed that. Brother, stabbed, almost died. I remembered pain, blood, darkness, but not them. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I don't remember any of this. Mujin looked away, his jaw tight. Do-won's hands clenched. Seon just nodded. We'll figure it out. But I saw the devastation in his eyes. They loved someone I used to be. Weeks passed in the hospital. The triplets visited every day, brought things they said I liked, told me stories about a life I couldn't recall. They showed me photos, the penthouse, meals we'd shared, moments I should remember. I looked at the pictures like they were someone else's memories, because they were. Discharge day came. They drove me to a penthouse downtown, 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows. Beautiful. This is yours, Seon said. We had it set up for you. I walked through the space, touched the granite countertop, looked at the bedroom with its enormous bed. Nothing felt familiar. Where do you live, Juan? I asked. We've been staying here, with you, if that's okay. I looked at them. 3 alphas who claimed to be mine, who looked at me like I was their entire world. I don't remember you, I said honestly. Any of you. We know, Doan said softly, but you're still here. Where else would we be? Mujin's voice was fierce, protective. Something in my chest tightened. Days settled into routine. Mujin made coffee every morning. Somehow knew I took it with 2 sugars and cream. Doan sat nearby with books, never demanded conversation, just present. Seon explained things patiently. The company, the board, what had happened with my brother. I learned I'd sacrificed 5 years for someone who threw me away. I learned I'd planned revenge. I learned it went wrong, but I couldn't feel it, couldn't connect to that person's choices. Still, something about the triplets felt right. The way Mujin handed me coffee without asking. The way Doan knew when I needed silence. The way Seon anticipated questions before I asked them. My body remembered even if my mind didn't. 3 weeks after leaving the hospital, I woke to something new. A pull in my chest, warm, insistent. I gasped, sat up. The bond. I felt them. Not memories, but presence. Emotion, concern from one room over. Mujin, awake early. Quiet steadiness from another. Doan reading. Controlled worry nearby. Seon working. They felt me wake. I sensed their attention shift. Footsteps. All 3 appeared in my doorway. You feel it, Mujin said. Not a question. I nodded, overwhelmed. I don't remember. You, I said. My voice cracked. But I feel you. Is that enough? Sion crossed the room, sat on the edge of my bed. We fell in love with you once. We can do it again. Mujin joined us. You don't have to remember the past. We'll build a new future. Dewan completed the circle. If you'll let us. The bond hummed between us. Warm. Right. I'd traded my memories for this second chance. Lost them to come back to them. But maybe that was okay. Maybe I got to choose them again. Not because I remembered loving them, but because I could learn to love them now. I'd like that, I whispered. I'd like to know you. Sion's hand found mine. Mujin's forehead pressed against my shoulder. Dewan's fingers squeezed gently. The bond pulsed. Home. Not because I remembered it, because I was choosing it. The end. If you've ever given everything to someone who gave you nothing back, if you've sacrificed until you were empty, and still been called selfish, if you've loved unconditionally, only to be discarded when you were no longer useful, this story was for you. You are not too much. You are not contaminated. You are not a burden. You deserve better. You still do. And somewhere out there, there are people who will choose you not because of what you can give them, but because of who you are. Don't settle for scraps of affection from people who see you as a convenience. You are worth choosing, worth keeping, worth coming home to. Your second chance is waiting. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps me create more stories about finding the love and respect we all deserve. Thank you for listening. Until next time.